Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. You're watching the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Monday. It's February the 19th. And like every Monday, I'm joined by this handsome gentleman on the other side of me. His name is Doug Upstone from DocSports.com. My name is Ross Benjamin. Thank you for joining us today, folks. Doug, how are you?
I'm doing well, Ross. Had some, a little bit of up and down a little bit for the weekend, but not bad overall. Had some good stuff on college basketball, and now the last week, 10-4, okay, across the board. So finally getting some action going there. Did miss my 7-unit best bet in the NHL on Saturday, but still 12-4 on best bets long term, and 36-26 in the most recent run in hockey. So that's been strong. And golf, a sweep, a 3-0 sweep across the board at the Genesis Invitational. So that was really strong. No big plays in there, but it's always nice to anytime you can get a sweep, as you're well aware, Ross, you always take it.
Absolutely. It always adds up to positive money, no matter how you cut it. Yep. So, I had a so-so weekend. I went 6-6 overall in college basketball. Nothing else because the NBA was on a hiatus for the All-Star break. Won my top play on Saturday, went 2-1 yesterday, on a modest 23-16 run with my college basketball picks overall, over my last 39 in that category. And also since August the 4th of 2023, which is over 6 months now, 303 and 252 in all sports. My dime bettors have made a net profit of over close to $23,000, actually $22,730 during that course of time. College basketball totals continue to roll, folks. Despite a 2-3 on Saturday, I still went 11-5 with my last 16 and 70-38 with my last 108. That's a 65% run with 108 plays with my college basketball totals. In my college basketball top plays, like I said, I hit it on Saturday, 117-86, 58% over my last 203. So a lot of good stuff going on in college basketball. NBA resumes on Thursday. You can find all of my picks at gamblersworld.net. Myself and 9 other great handicapper. It is there, folks, that we guarantee our selections. If you don't win, you don't make a profit on any single game or multi-game daily package or any subscription plan of 30 days or fewer. We will credit back your account the exact amount of your purchase price, and that's the exact amount you spent on that specific purchase, to clarify. Also, folks, don't forget at gamblersworld.net right now, college basketball sale going on. $3.99 gets you the rest of the regular season conference tournaments and all postseason action right through the NCAA tournament championship game for every handicapper. It's the best way for you to invest, folks. It's a 3-day, 7-day, 30-day, or in this particular case, $3.99 for the rest of the college basketball season. It's the only way that you can get a true indicator of how a handicapper does for you. And I got my money on each one of us that over that course of time, you're going to make a profit. Anyway, Doug, we continue to see this disturbing trend when it comes to these major sports all-star games. And we saw it again yesterday where we saw nearly 400 points scored total in the NBA all-star game. I don't know about you, but I am not a fan of the continuing. It's a travesty. Nobody plays defense. There's no intensity level whatsoever, and that comes to be expected in an all-star game. But my point is, between that and the NFL, and then NHL, where you don't even see a body check being thrown throughout a whole all-star game, and then Major League Baseball is probably as best as it can be, but it still doesn't compare to the days when Pete Rose knocked over Ray Fosse at home plate and ended his career in the bottom of the ninth of an all-star game. My point being is, name an all-pro team. Name an all-NBA team, first, second, third team. Name an NHL all-star team, first, second, and third team. All-pro team in NFL, first and second team, and Major League Baseball as well, and leave the all-star game alone. I think it's a joke. It really is. what's the highlight of the All-Star game in baseball right now is a home run hitting contest. So your thoughts, Doug?
Yeah, well, first of all, I saw the score. I'll be 100% honest. I've actually forgotten how many years since I watched an NBA All-Star game. I mean, literally, even for a minute, I gave up years ago because it's like it wasn't basketball. It was a pickup game. Okay, so that's all it is. Same thing with NFL has essentially done away with it. The problem that they have, and they're trying to do something because they have all this time off. So you don't want to have something where you're not seen or heard at all for a week. And I understand that. And to come up with something, it's just going to be, personally, I think let it just be as it is. It's something for those that want to turn in. I mean, a lot of people, like you and I, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to. And so just tune it out and go on to something else. If you find something else that's from a betting standpoint that's of interest to you, whether it be the 3-point shooting contest, whether it be something else, there's something to do there. But like I say, I totally get the sport doing it as it is. And, as you mentioned in baseball, at least the players are doing what they normally do in baseball.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah. The
All-Star game each and every year declines in viewership. So what does that tell you? It tells you that young people have zero interest in this completely. Nobody's watching it. And these other things, nobody's watching them either. Or if they are, it's minimal interest. So there's no win situation. I just say leave it as it is for those that want to watch. And I get the leagues having to have something instead of just being dark for a week, because that doesn't serve them well either.
Well, I mean, why even be dark for a week? Why not just play through?
Because they want to have a break.
Okay.
A long season.
Well, why don't you do? I mean, the NHL does it right. I mean, they give one team a break for 7 days or 8 days during the course of the season. They do it one team at a time, and I would rather see that where, the only thing that's missing is an NHL fan base has their team go dark for 8 days rather than the whole league go dark for 7 days. And because of these farces, what they call all-star games. Not only that, these all-star games, you're basing it on first half statistics and first half performances, first half of the season, that is, and all three sports, So, I mean, it has little to do who gets named all pro, who gets named NBA all first team, right down the road at the end of the year, which to me, the whole season being an all-star or being an all pro or being named to the first team all-star in a specific sport takes a lot more meaning than somebody being named to an all-star game that virtually you're going to get little to no effort, especially defensively. That is, and the Pro Bowl's turned into a joke. You get 25% of the guys named to the Pro Bowl end up declining the invitation anyway because they feel the same way. So we'll see. I just had a vent a little bit. Final score yesterday, Eastern Conference 211, Western Conference 186. And the game did go over the total of 353.5, folks. So congratulations to you who are nuts enough to bet on the game and smart enough to bet on the over.
Hey, the one thing that if we're gonna get venting a little bit, here I am Friday during your live show. I show up. Now I didn't ask a question, okay, but I had a comment. Nothing from you guys. You were talking about Kentucky and Auburn, and nothing. I was like, come on.
I thought we answered you because we didn't know who it was that was asking the question at Doc Sports.
Okay, well, I didn't pose a question.
Actually, the comment that I remember from Doc Sports was a complimentary comment toward the show, and I thought that if somebody was going to comment from Doc's, that if it was Doug, he would have specified who it was. So
that's what came up. So when I punched it in, it came up Docs. Okay. So there's nothing I can
sorry.
do.
The next time,
I'm just giving you a hard time. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
But I appreciate the kind words.
All I said was like a radio call. First time caller, love the show. Okay, so that was my open. And then you were talking about Kentucky's, I think it was Sean was talking about Kentucky's defense. And the only thing I said was that Kentucky, obviously they didn't play that way Saturday, but up to that point recently, they were playing defense like a parked car. Okay.
I did comment on that. I
did you? Okay. Well, I waited for like 2 minutes and then I went out.
Yeah, no, I got to it eventually, and I actually got a laugh out of that. So,
okay, good.
Listen, buddy, you got to be a little patient. We're getting a lot of comments on and
in today's world, be patient. Are you serious? Come on.
But we're the older generation. We're the older generation that's supposed to be setting an example for these kids that all seem to have ADD these days. Anyways, let's get to our college basketball picks.
I'm ready.
2 games, ESPN tonight. I'm going to be looking at the early game, Virginia and Virginia Tech. And Doug will be looking at the Iowa State and Houston game. And boy, oh boy, we were talking off air, Doug. Houston, a 9-point favorite in the total in this game, which when I checked it this morning, doing my homework, was 128. Before I just went on, I said, let me double check to make sure there was no line moves. And I'm glad I did, because the total in this game went from 128 to 131.5, which is a little mind-boggling to me because of both teams' defensive prowess. But anyway, it doesn't matter what I think. What do you think about this matchup, Doug?
Well, I think it's going to be great. We got 2 top 10 teams. They're playing for the sole possession of first place in the best conference in college basketball. So that's really good. Now, in this one, stylistically, it doesn't seem like it's going to be very pretty to watch because both teams are defensive minded and they create a lot of different pressure. Here's the thing, though, to watch intently. And Ross often brings up about watching a game like a handicapper. Well, I want you to watch this game like a basketball coach. And that holds a lot of different things. And I do that myself personally because I've always been involved in some factor of that. And I was an AAU coach for years in youth basketball. So have some ideas and thoughts about that. But you'll be able to see by watching this game, because of how both teams played offense and how they play defense, if they are both capable of reaching the Final Four and or if they are likely to be out by the second or third round. So just that's something to keep in mind here. Now, as I mentioned, each squad has a strong defensive identity, as evidenced by their first game, in Ames, where Iowa State won 57-53 as 2.5-point home favorites, where the total was, and the closing total was 129.5. Besides just the defense, the other aspect of this, a shooting percentage defense, I should say, is that both teams generate a lot of turnovers, each and every game. But here's the other thing. They're both expertly coached on offense to protect the ball. And in each case, both these teams have a turnover margin of +7. So they are really getting the job done. Cyclones certainly are the better shooting team, shooting over 46% compared to just 43.6% for the Cougars. But the Cougars, part of their offensive strategy under Kelvin Sampson is to crash the offensive boards. They average 14 offensive rebounds per game. That is just mind-boggling to me. Now, I'm the first to admit that -9 is a huge number on Houston. Has me confused, to be perfectly honest. Yet the odds makers came out with it at -9, and it's remained unchanged. The under, if anybody wants to play the under, I wouldn't discourage them at all. I think there's something on this one. Here's what I'm a little confused about, and this is kind of what gave me the hesitation on this game just overall. In the previous game, Iowa State was a 2.5-point favorite. Now they're a 9-point dog. That's a differential of 11.5 points. And so with that, the only thing I could come up with was that they were saying that initially that Iowa, probably justifiably so, is -5 in terms of a favorite at home. But that would mean then Houston would be -6.5 at home if you just take the numbers at pure value. So with that in mind, and I'm not saying that's even wrong. I'm just saying those are pretty significant numbers. So with this in mind, I'm going to go with Houston in part because they're at home. The number has not moved, and the odds makers have been very steadfast in sticking with it. And I like the fact that the Cougs are 17-6 at home against teams scoring 77 or more points per game, winning by 16.2 points per game. Very small, Ross. Give me Houston -9.
I agree with you here, Doug. I mean, look at part of the reason why Houston's such a heavy dog or a heavy favorite, excuse me. Their home record. I mean, they're 14-0 straight up, 9-4-1 against the spread at home. And that's a great ATS record when you're 14-0 because they've been so dominant at home. And most times than not, they were laying double digit numbers. And again, their home per game point per game differential at home plus 30.4. So they're outscoring teams by over 30 points per game at home. Then you factor in they're playing with same season revenge. Okay, so they lose 57-53 at Iowa State. And again, Iowa State, number 10 in the country, getting 9 points. That's got to raise your eyebrows. And you factor in 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last 4 conference road games. So it's not like they're playing bad on the road. 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last 4 and 7-1 straight up in ATS in their last 8 overall, not just on the road. But in any event, to me, you got to think like an odds maker here. They're begging you to take Iowa State at that large a number. I have to go with Houston here and agree with Doug and lay the big number, Doug.
Yep. I think so. I mean, it's not something I'm not betting it. I can tell you that. But to me, it just seems like that's the better side to go. That's simple.
It's
as
not
that.
the logical play; it's the contrarian play. And again, if you know anything about me and contrarian plays, I love those types of situations. And I have one here in the Virginia Tech game that goes at 7:00 tonight on ESPN. Right now, Virginia Tech is a 3.5-point favorite. The total in this game, 126.5. Here's where I'm going with this. This opened with Virginia Tech being a 2.5-point favorite and has since moved to 3.5. The opening number to me makes very little sense, and the ensuing move makes even more nonsensical to me. Virginia Tech, you're looking at a team that's 1-4 straight up in ATS in their last 5 games, Doug. And defensively, over that 5-game period of time, they're allowing close to 81 points per game. Opponents are shooting 51%, including 41.3% from beyond the 3-point arc. And Virginia, on the other hand, are 9-1 straight up and 8-2 ATS in their last 10. That includes 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last 4 away. And that's where I got confused when I was talking about Iowa State's record. Virginia is the one that's gone 4-0 straight up in ATS in the last 4 on the road. So this is a textbook contrarian approach because I got no idea. You got a ranked team that's an underdog against an unranked team. We know how that's fared this year. And it's also worth noting Virginia Tech has gone 3-0 straight up in ATS in their last 3 at home against Virginia. And won those games by an average of 9.7 points per game. And Virginia, by the way, this year, when they're a pick or an underdog in their last 4 in that situation this year, they're 1-3 straight up in ATS and lose by over 14 points per game. I got to go contrarian here. Makes no sense to me, this line. They're begging you to take the underdog here in this situation. And I'm going to go with Virginia Tech here, lay to 3.5 over Virginia. It's not going to be part of my premium card, but I certainly I have a strong opinion in that regard, Doug.
All right. Well, I'm going to go the same general direction that you are, just with a little bit different twist. As you mentioned, Virginia Tech has lost 4 of their last 5. In order for them to have any ambitions of let's say, getting into the NCAA tournament, they have none at the moment. But they're going to have to go 6-0 to finish the regular season and probably have to get at least to the semifinals in the ACC tournament. Now, this team can still rip the nylon, okay? They're shooting over 48%, okay, as a team, and they score better than 79 points per game at home. So we know they can shoot. As Ross mentioned, though, their defense has been horrible in this 1-4 stretch, giving up a ton of points and just horrible the defensive percentage. Virginia comes in averaging 65 points per game. So are they much of a threat to get to 80? I don't think so. I think they've gotten there twice in 14 ACC games, but not much. So I'm going to look for this Virginia Tech team to be motivated, particularly in the first half. And so the line in that game is -2 on Virginia Tech in the first half. And they are 8-1 against that first half line after allowing 75 or more points in 2 straight games. And as Ross mentioned, Virginia's had some trouble on the road and as an underdog. And in this instance, they're 1-8 against the first half line as an underdog in the first half. I'm going to take Virginia Tech, the Hokies, -2 on the first half line over Virginia.
Yeah, you make a good point about the urgency and desperation. I mean, Virginia's pretty much, with this latest run of winning 9 of their last 10, solidified not only an NCAA tournament spot, top 25 ranking, and also probably somewhere around a 4 or 5 to 6 seed in the NCAA tournament, depending on how they finish the year and how well they do in the ACC tournament. That's not the case with Virginia Tech. Right now, they're on the outside looking in. It looks like everything's falling apart for the Hokies. Yet here they are, going from 2.5 to 3.5. Doug likes Virginia Tech -2 in the first half, is his opinion. Our official pick, Virginia Tech -3.5 over Virginia from Ross Benjamin. And Doug likes Houston -9 at home over Iowa State. So there you have it, folks. Just a friendly reminder, I will be back tomorrow with Jesse Schule, Sean Higgs, and myself in Colorado State, New Mexico, Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, LSU, all good matchups there. Doug will be back with us on Thursday, and we'll be talking the Suns and Mavs and the Clippers and the Thunder. 2 really good matchups in the NBA as the NBA resumes on Thursday. Look forward to that. Until tomorrow, and for Doug Upstone, until Thursday, we'd like to wish each and every one of you folks all the very best. Take care and God bless.